you know, that's why people do it, and that's why you people come to watch it.
Oh, exactly, mate. And look, we got the bootlegger out there, mate. Hey, thank you, Darky, for popping up and giving us that information. We certainly appreciate it. So the bootlegger with Ron Gallagher and Josh Reynolds, our Americans out on the water at the moment, and certainly a different aspect. Oh, he's run it wide up there. Ron Gallagher qualifying round number 1, all over the shop like a mad woman's hat. Then in qualifying round number 2, he threw the reverse bucket down and submarined it. Q3. Oh, he's late into that corner. Wow. These American boys certainly know how to get the heart race going in the commentary box, I can tell you that. So they're just easing their way through it. I do notice that they're not wearing sunnies either. So I reckon they'd be looking in there, the retinas would be burning as they're heading to the bottom end of the track. But this is looking like a tidy run for the American pair. Lovely to see these guys out competing, giving it a crack. And that is a tidy run, 63.785, 63.785. Great to see these guys starting to lay some decent times down. Still a long way to go, but as they said, we are just here to have fun, you know, like these guys actually fly planes, they jump out of planes, they're into drag racing, all sorts of things. So they just love going fast and doing dangerous things. So hopefully as we move into the finals, they will make the top 9 and be able to progress further in the day. Having said that, we are now in our final qualifying run for the unlimited category. And we've got a wasp in the commentary tower. It's a bee in the commentary tower, and everybody who's allergic to bees is starting to move rather rapidly away from it, including myself. So what we, it's amazing as we see Daryl Hutton and Mick Parry. Daryl Hutton, 2 rotational errors today. The Broken Arrow has some engine issues. They've cobbled it together. So Mick Parry from Mildura in Australia, Daryl Hutton from Gippsland in Australia, Daryl Hutton the Kiwi. Been over in Australia for a long time, making his way back into the sport. Had a win down at Wanganui on the day after Boxing Day, and a very popular win that was. So the Broken Arrow on a flyer at the moment as they make their way into this latter part of the lap. This is going to be very tidy. This is going to put the wood on them. Daryl Hutton and Mick Parry. Oh, that is an absolute cracker. 47.749. 47.749. Now the B driver for this boat, Chris Edmonds. That's going to put a lot of pressure on him because he needs to get a rotation right to be able to progress into the eliminations. And it is not just a race with the other competitors. They are very competitive within the team as well. So that'll be interesting to see how that's going to play out. We now go to the Ghost, and it's Phil Dick and Hayden Digby-Smith. These guys having a good day so far. Their final opportunity to qualify to get into that top 9. Will they be able to present something here? 750 odd horsepower here in the HRE 410 cubic inch Chev. It is the JDC Hypersprint 4000. This is great to see these guys because they've had a few missteps over the course of their career, but this big back off there. The boat just sort of, I think he's just trying to roll off it, and it just decelerated a little bit quicker than he would have liked. But it is Phil Dick and Hayden Digby-Smith in their final qualifying run for today before we head into these finals. Up the hay diddle diddle he goes, straight in the middle, up the top. Few washing machine effects starting to affect it. The slower the boat, the bigger the waves. The bigger the waves, the harder to drive. Oh, he's had a look. He's had a thought. He had a double dip, but he got away with it with a 60.745. Geez, I wish we had a camera in the commentary tower. Mandy Tisdale in here. She's been grabbing her face Tracy Old, she's been grabbing Mandy's face as well. It's been hilarious in here. There's been more animation in here throughout the course of the day than some of these navigators are offering us. Oh. So Phil, Dick, just rotating over there. Now it is Aaron Hansen and Julianne Shanks in the wired machine. These guys are in the hunt for the championship. They need to make this one count to take the confidence into the finals. The pairing from Tauranga, the 500 cubic inch small block, banging out over 800 horsepower. Looking tidy at the moment. Into this flip-flop area, that sharp right-hander nailed it. They were concerned about the rotation earlier. Qualifying 4 went well for them. All very tight on the inside of the MTW roundabout there. Now around the Sprint Tech sweeper for the final time. Aaron Hansen, Julianne Shanks, 52.005. So that will give them the confidence moving into the finals. But it is Daryl Hutton at about 4.3 seconds quicker than Aaron Hansen. Phil Dick a further 8 seconds beyond that. Ron Gallagher out at a 63, but it is now the Mina machine. I can hear it, but I can't see it. It doesn't have an exhaust on it because nobody gave our rescue crew a metal detector to get out there and find it in the depths here at the Novus Auto Glass Wanaka Aqua Track. We can see Richard Burt doing some running. So Richard Burt's synonymous with a lot of these boats and teams. He's running. That'll be the first time he's done any exercise for about 5 years. So Richard Murray, Steve Edmonds. Oh, the thumping 1,500 horsepower. It is known as the Mina machine. Straighten it up. Get it sorted out. Oh, geez, I was wondering where that was going to go. Oh, into the hairpin. Bogged it down. Plenty of thump out the back of the boat. Oh, what's he done? Oh, Richard Murray. Wah, 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 wah. Oh, that is a big off. Lost it in a massive wall of water. Let's have a look at the replay to see how this one went. Yeah, just got it all sideways. So they did find the exhaust after all. But yeah, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wipeout. Wow, I told you it was going to be good coming in towards the finals. So certainly plenty of excitement here at the Novus Auto Glass Aqua Track. This is awesome. We certainly don't want to see people hurt. These guys are putting on a show. Don't worry about that. So, wow. I love how all the kids are running up. This is about the only time you're allowed near the fence, kids, so enjoy it. So the boys are out of the boat. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Richard Murray and Steve Edmonds. It's a long push from back there, but I dare say we might end up with Scruffy, the tugboat, out to rescue. We'll take a short break and we will be back with more racing after we extricate these guys. G'day to Randy and Stephen Church as well. We'll be back very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, just being joined in commentary by Josh Reynolds, the navigator, the American navigator out of the bootlegger, mate. Geez, I'll tell you what, you had some rotational errors in there in the early part of the day. Were you getting confusion with the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere?
Yeah, the toilet spins backwards, everything's upside down, the cold's on the left and the hot's on the right when you're taking a shower. The whole thing's just backwards and upside down.
So is that why your driver went and submarined it so you didn't get confused between the hot and the cold and he just doused you with the cold?
Yeah, they put the reverse bucket lever, the button, it's upside down.
Oh, mate, so you enjoying your time down here at Wanaka?
I am. It's an awesome track. Looks like you got an awesome crowd here. Everybody's cool. Everybody's been nice. It's been a great time.
Oh, mate, we always love when you guys come down, and while we throw a bit of crap at you guys, you know it's always done in good jest and having a laugh, and you know the time and effort that it takes for you guys to get all the way down here, and we certainly appreciate it. And what about the views here? Like, it's not bad, is it?
No, it's great. The views are great. And for another thing, you can't embarrass me and Ron because we do it ourselves intentionally. We go to the bar and some chick says, "Hey, don't roofie me," and we like, "No, we do it ourselves."
Oh, that's an absolute cracker. Oh, mate, so look, now we're getting into the final. We've got to see if we've got to get into the top 9. Not sure that you're going to get there, but there's still a slight possibility.
Yeah.
So hopefully we see you throughout the course of the day. Mate, thanks for coming up and having a chat, mate. Enjoy your stay here in New Zealand. We'll be catching up for a debrief at the end of racing, mate, guaranteed.
All right, thanks, Tabby.
Hey, thanks, mate. Really appreciate your time. Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Reynolds, the navigator for the bootlegger there. So we are now going Link ECU Racing with Dave Simmons, Millie Simmons, his daughter, sitting in alongside him. We've talked a lot about these pairing from Napier, had a lot of drama getting out of Napier, bridges down, all of that type of thing. So it has been a bit of a mission, as you could well expect, but it's great to see this family down here and racing here this weekend for the final round of the PSP New Zealand Jet Sprint Championship for the 23 season. So now, what will Dave and Millie produce here? This is this moment where they really need to think about it. So far, so good. The water nice and flat too. So the one good thing about this Wanaka Aqua track here for Novus Autoglass is the water settles quite nicely. The channels aren't square dug, they're eased up from the bottom of the channel into the islands. Very well thought out design, and it means that the cross wash and the washing machines aren't as extreme as we see in some of the other tracks around the world. And these two driving beautifully at the moment. Oh, the big ease off. Dave keeps doing that into this left-hander up through the middle, just gets himself set. Knows that the boat is just settling. So Dave Simmons now in the push for the line. It's going to be tidy. Very tidy indeed with a 52.581 into P3 for qualifying round number 5. So there's great work. Big shout out to Grant Burke and the crew watching from the Tweed Coast. Even Harley, Randy Church's daughter, says that she wishes she was here because now we're starting to get everybody wants to see how the outcome of this New Zealand Jet Sprint season is going to unfold. People from right around the world tuning in. Some 20,000 people checking out what is happening as we now go to Mouthfresh with Rob, the Mad Dog Coley, his wife Anne sitting in alongside him. Need to just lay this one down, not overthink it. Certainly got plenty of mumbo about this boat. We know Rob Coley can drive. That move around that left hand, very nice indeed. Certainly picking up the pace from what we've seen throughout the course of the day, but certainly not rushing this boat into extremes. It has got plenty more, don't worry about it. Concentrate on the rotation. Oh, Rob Coley looked a little bit late in there, but he got away with it. Not too worried about that at all. Rob Coley looking good at this point in the rotation. coming now across, oh, beautiful line. He had some momentum issues in there before. He's laying one down. So the Mouth Fresh machine, the man from Wanganui, Mouth Fresh, the best tasting toothpaste in the world. Rob Coley qualifying 5. It's going to be a great lap and a 50.464, his best time of the day. And that'll give him confidence moving into the finals with a championship up for grabs with Aaron Hansen. Interestingly, the Mouth Fresh machine had some water coming out of interesting places out of the water jet unit, out of the pump there. So I don't know that they'll be too worried about that. It certainly didn't seem to affect anything, but certainly something that the team will have a look at. As we now go to Ruben Hoxima. Last time we saw him out, he spat it out. So Ruben Hoxima, Jacob Wood, these guys have been running some great times throughout the course of the day. Last time, oh, Ruben Hoxima upside down into the catch fence with Jacob Wood. Grabbed the inside of that island on the right-hander, flipped it out, bang, into the fence. And I can say, Ruben, you can't park there. So this will take a little bit of time to sort out as well, ladies and gentlemen, because that was another fence pole. And again, our safety fence working very well, and a reminder why we need to stay off the fence. So these guys are a bit slow getting out of the boat. Our safety crew there just checking on them, and they won't be rushing anything there at all. And we have Mr. Richard Murray, after spitting it out just near where Ruben did in the commentary tower. Mr. Murray, what did you do wrong?
Oh, I think I just went a bit wide and just lost that suction on that corner, and then she was all over once we lose that suction. So hopefully next time we'll get it right. Yeah,
mate. Geez, I tell you what, it's been an interesting day at the office, and of course throwing the exhaust out the back of the boat.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what that was. I thought that was engine going off, so that's why I sort of pulled the pin on that run. But when we got in, we saw a muffler missing. I thought we should have just kept going really, but we were going to just carry on with it off. But the got our safety crew, they found it and brought it back to us. We tigged it up and got it back on, and away we go. Then we go and spit it out. So.
Yeah, well, that's look, that's how these things go, because once you get a little bit distracted from your preparation, things just take that little bit of momentum away, don't they, from that thought process?
Oh, yeah, and the track itself, the rotation, that takes a fair bit of getting your head around as well. So, it's credit really to anyone that gets around here in a good time. It's hard work.
Yeah, certainly. It's put plenty of stuff into the mix. We're just casting our eyes across the track there. Ruben caught the inside and spat it out that way, and you did something very similar.
Yeah, pretty much just the opposite corner in the pretty much same spot, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, mate, you've made your way down from Wanganui. You landed yesterday at 4:30 in the morning, is that right? Drove overnight, set up the tent, and tried to get a bit of sleep last night.
Yeah, we were supposed to be on the ferry on Friday morning at 8, and they bumped us back to another 12 hours to 8 o'clock sailing Friday night. And we thought, shit, if they bump us again, we're going to be a bit buggered. But we got down there and we didn't leave until 9:30. Got into Picton at 2, and we just drove straight here basically and got here pretty much before just about everyone else. So we did quite good.
Wow.
As long as I can drive today like that, we should be right.
Yeah, well, that's it, mate. You've just got to stitch it together, because now it's into the sudden death finals, and it's going to be all in now. A mistake from here throws you out.
Oh, I've just been practising all morning for it, so we should be right.
What, practising for getting thrown out? Oh, geez, I tell you. So just waiting to see, while we've been having a bit of a chat, Ruben and Jacob. Okay, they'll just go and have a bit of a check with the ambo, so that's a very positive thing. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Ruben Hoxima and Jacob Wood. And, wow, I'll tell you, the safety that we have in these vessels and everything like that, it is really quite amazing that you can have these big offs and, you did a little bit of bruising. But mind you, you've actually damaged a few navigators over the years.
They just need to learn to hang on.
So what's your toll so far? You burst Kesty's eardrums in a big crash at Hastings.
Yeah, we hit an island Hastings, flipped upside down in midair and hit the water upside down, and and the water, when we hit the water, is the peak of his helmet, tried to rip his head off, but it inverted the water into his ears and burst his eardrums. But he was all good to go again after that. Actually, no, he wasn't, because we chucked another navvy in, my brother-in-law, and we came down to Wanaka here the following meeting, and we actually won that one, the first win we ever had. Then in Bay Park, same navigator. He races.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was Ian Carter as well, just so that Ian, if he's got any mates around, one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in jet sprinting, the boat rolled and he put his arm out to try and stop it from rolling. The clown.
Yeah, broke his wrist in about 9 places, so he got a few bits of screws and steel in there as well. Another navvy, Jo Rathbone, she navied with me for quite a few years, 4 years, and my home track, Wanganui. Clipped a corner, pretty much what we just did really, but sailed through the air and run into the tyre wall, but her knee just slammed into the side of the roll cage, and same thing really, sort of put her knee from 1 into about 4. Put a few screws in there and a few plates, and she came right. But yeah, she's not here anymore. She's too busy working. But
isn't it funny that your former navigators all seem to disappear from your social orbit?
Well, I'm not quite sure why, but you know.
Mate, neither am I, to be very honest with you. I'm not too sure myself.
I'm working on Steve.
Yeah, well, Steve Edmonds, I'm not too sure if the man is brave or he's just lacking a little bit of IQ, to be fair.
He did say to me at lunchtime he was a bit nervous, and I've never heard Steve say that before, so maybe I can see why now. Maybe it's just, yeah. But he'll be right. He's tough.
Oh,
just as long as he keeps his hands in and his knees to himself, he'll be fine.
Well, that's right. You just and of course, after Ian went over, and we've now got both wrist restraints, because the wrist restraint was normally for the navigator's right hand to stop when the boat's your arms flailing around in a roll. Now we've got the wrist restraints for both hands.
Yeah, and now the navigators can't slap me when I get it wrong, so it's quite good, really.
There are benefits everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah, I reckon.
Hey, mate, thanks very much for coming up to commentary. We're going to take a short break while we effect the rescue. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Murray from the Mina Machine. And a big round of applause once again for Ruben and Jacob walking away after that big off. And, well, Tisdall Contracting in the Case Machine out there, certainly getting plenty of advertising here this weekend at the Novus Auto Glass Wanaka Aquatrack. Plenty more to come, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't fully finished with the super boats yet, and we are going to head into our finals. So take that opportunity to grab a drink, grab a bit of tucker. We'll be back very soon. A big shout out to the massive crew watching from the Tweed River Ski Club, as well as Peter Cowie. Well, we like to call him Sir Peter Cowie. He hasn't been quite knighted by the King at this point. He was in line for it, but then the Queen fell over. So, mate, thanks for dropping into the commentary box, mate. I tell you what, it's been an interesting day of racing so far.
It has. And, yeah, at lunchtime, there's a couple of people saying to me, oh, things are looking pretty under control at the moment. I said, oh, just wait.
Yeah, I know.
And I didn't wish it.
Isn't it amazing how so often we get sort of sucked into the vortex of, the day's running smoothly, but we know that jet sprinting can be a split-second decision, a matter of millimetres, and well, we're seeing the after effects of that right now.
Exactly. I think the race controller only opens the gate, about a metre. It's a bit like herding sheep. Just let a few through, but after lunch he just swings the gate open and stands back, I reckon.
Absolutely. So, mate, for those of you who don't know you won how many World Championships?
7, apparently.
And how many New Zealand Championships?
12.
Yeah, that's not a bad effort, is it?
I don't know, mate.
I'd say it's
I was
the
looking for more.
Yeah, I'd say that he's the most winning driver in the world of jet sprinting. And mate, you retired a few years ago. Have you got the FOMO, the fear of missing out?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
First 2 years was the hardest for sure. And but yeah, look, I mean, days like today, my customers make it easy for me because I just go from one client to the next, fixing stuff and tuning stuff, and we just gave a hand to get Ollie back on the water. So Ollie will be back out in Group A, which is extremely good news. I think he probably already had the championship nailed for Group A at Sprint Tech Group A.
Yes.
And but hey, he's a racer. He wants to get back out there and slay the dragon, and so he'll do a very calculating run, I believe, in the next run in the top 6, and then I'd say Ollie being Ollie, he'll lay her down and show you what he's all about
Well,
for the
look,
final.
isn't it amazing? You could have the championship sewn up, and I don't think I could ever remember seeing a racer who's got a championship sewn up in the last run just fat arm it out the window. They tend to just give it a red hot crack every time, just to be emphatic about their win.
I think once you get in that zone and particularly where Sam and Ollie and them have been racing at the top end, psychologically and everything about you, actually, physically and psychologically, you're just in the zone, and winning's important, hugely important to that personality type. I get that, but you also want to do a good lap. You don't want to win easily. You don't want a soft win. You just want to get out there and nail it. So. That's the good news. We know we're in for a great show this afternoon. There's a whole lot of heroes out there waiting to show what they can do.
Oh, absolutely. Look, it's just amazing that we can have such a big off like we just saw with Ollie, and so many people get around and repair the boat and work together. And, I'm sure that as we've seen over the many, many seasons, people lending parts. What do you need? How can we help? And that's probably one of the few motorsports around where that camaraderie is so very, very strong. And it's not just here in New Zealand. It is, in fact, right around the world.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that has developed over many decades. In actual fact, it's one of the ongoing features of jet sprinting, and I think one of the big reasons why competitors stay in the sport for such a long time. They're a good fraternity of people, and you're racing the clock. You have a good day, you have a bad day, you brought it on yourself, you sort of get what you get. Nobody's pushing off the track, nobody's trying to disadvantage you. As you said, you need to borrow, a reverse bucket or whatever after you've had a bit of a bingle. You're going to find one, somebody's going to help you out. If you're prepared to get back in the boat and race, and if the boat's safe, you'll be back out there. So yeah, Ollie, he was very fortunate. His boat got a fair bit of damage right at the very back in the jet unit, the splash guard and reverse bucket and steering arm, but all those parts were available, and it's all fixed up and looking remarkably good underneath the boat. Honestly, it's a 98% under there, which is a bit of a miracle to go out of the track as quick as he did. Yeah. So he'll be, as I say, I think if he gets to the final, I think you'll see him do a ripper time. So
wow, just isn't it amazing? Just the intestinal fortitude to be able to come back from something like that. And then just be able to get back in the boat, because as a racer, you knew that when somebody came out and they had a big crash, that you were certainly concerned about them, but then you had to reset your brain to not think about that, switch off and think about what you've got to do. So that takes this mental toughness to another level, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That was the very conversation I was having with Ron and Josh just before I walked up here. In actual fact, a guest from America, and they were in the prime viewing spot for Ruben's crash. Just don't get too tied up in that. You're a racer. You got to go and do your own thing, and that's not going to be you. Get on with it. So and I think this is the home track for Si and Sierra. So with a Novus boat, and he'll have his pecker up no end really, because Ollie has had a pretty tidy season so far. Like, he's been very focused. This is really the only indiscretion I can think of this season. So. And it's only a little bit early. It's really easy to do. For the spectators that don't know, that little island down there where the PSP boat went off, it has a double peninsula on it. And the first one is shrouded from the driver when you go in clockwise, so the direction he was going. So when you approach it as a driver and you're down low, sitting really low, it just says turn, and you've got to go, no.
Yeah, you just got to hold off for that split second, and that is all it is.
Yeah.
Is just a split second. And you touched on the way Si and Sarah Gibbon have been coming. Of course, they are the reigning New Zealand Group A champions. And they've just had a bit of an off-season, of course, electrical gremlins. And to see what they're doing here today, they finally look to be on top of it at the wrong part of the season. Yeah. But that gives them confidence moving into next year.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. The top teams are all looking to go, what do we need to do for next season? What can we learn from today? Whether they're winning or further down in the ranks, that generally is the right sort of mentality to have lingering in the back of your mind, really, because this is your last chance to dance until maybe November this year.
It's a long way if you've had a bit of a crap season, really, isn't it? Just totally. It eats into your head, and then sometimes the motivation to get the boat sorted out and get ready, and all of these sort of little elements that get into it, and it's really easy to become to hibernate. Yeah. In those moments and go, look, I just can't be bothered, and just again, it comes down to that mental toughness to get out in the shed and give it a crack.
Absolutely, and I mean, you got Ross Travers out there, and Amanda. They're always hard to beat because they just keep turning it in.
Oh, they certainly do. But this man, of course, you've been racing against Robert White for many moons. Lisa Club doing the navigational duties. And this guy has taken a long time to really get the handle of this twin turbo, but there are glimpses of brilliance, and then other times you go, what's going on here?
This package certainly suits Robert. He's he never he doesn't leave anything on the table, Like this is reasonably controlled in actual fact. So that's a good tidy run and good on him. Like he's serving it up.
Yeah, because we do see Robert White get very super aggressive, and every time we see that, not every time, but certainly it can come up stuck really quickly. But this boat had a lot of reversion early in the morning, and that's a good time, 51.774 there for Robert White.
He'd be well pleased with that, I'd say, and he's a little bit upset. Well, the boat's a little bit unsettled over that midweight, but probably that might be how it is for everyone, I think, going through there, really. So he's looking like he's on form, really.
Well, the reversion that I saw early this morning was quite extreme, and to be able to see that in the way that I saw it, you as a boat builder and a former racer, you see these things a lot clearer than I do. But for me to see that, I'm like, whoa, that's hectic.
Yeah, absolutely, and particularly in superboat, but I think any sprint boat, but it really shows in superboat. If you're going quick and you get reversion, pretty much that's where the water spills out of the jet unit. So normally it's on de-acceleration as you're setting up for a corner, and it'll spill water out of the jet unit at the back and push the nose in.
All right, so Chris and Katie Munro, the B driver of the bootlegger. Wow, that's a brave line through there that Chris Munro has just taken, and I'm amazed that there's so many boats have been able to get away with that, to be fair. Runs wide around MTW, and see, that's again what you were talking about, Peter. When you go in there, you need to just wait that split second before you turn in, so you don't end up like Ollie Silverton, but then you run the risk of doing what Chris Munro just really did.
Yeah, well, that was smart. Chris showing a bit of experience and a lot on this track. He just played it safe because that's the first rotation he's done since Ollie's crash.
So good work, because Chris new to this boat as well, and of course he races a Springtech. And he's running wide. Geez, we talked him up, and he's lost the Talking Up Cup now. That's a good run.
Well, that was a good call. The boys are going to pull the jet unit down at lunchtime. Said, I'll do one run more and then we'll do it, just in case you rough it up in the next run. And what do you know?
52.329. So it was Daryl Hutton, Rob Coley, Robert White, Aaron Hansen, Chris Munro, Dave Simmons, Phil Dick. But we still have Chris Edmonds yet to run. And Chris Edmonds, of course, in another one of the Springtech hulls, and B driving with Daryl Hutton. And, Chris really needs to stitch one together here, doesn't he?
Yeah, Chris has come a long way in a short period of time, really. He's had a few other boats and he didn't settle so well, but...
Not sure where he's decided to go there, but that is not the way you want to start a lap when you need to nail one. So that is one way straight out of the blocks.
Yeah, It's not looking good. It'll be really
He's
frustrated.
He's got to come all the way back to the start loop and start this lap effectively again. You could actually see the frustration as Chris Edmonds took his hands off the steering wheel and palms to the sky. This is a long, long way back from here.
Yeah, it certainly is. And hey, look, credit to him. He's kept his head. He didn't get too angry and trash the boat. So he's taken it back straight for Nutsy to continue racing. So good on him. You know, like it's easy to get angry at that moment when you go the wrong way. So it's unfortunate though. He's developed a lot and improved a lot as a racer over the last year. So
he really
we'll
has.
see a lot more of him.
Yeah, and he's just magnificent because he owns 4 or 5 boats now. He owns a supercharged thing in Australia that he's just a beast. And he wrecked Nutsy's boat, so then he had to go and buy another boat so that Nutsy could continue the season in Australia. Then he went, oh, well, maybe we need another boat just in case. So he bought Hazardous. Then he had a boat called Non-Hazardous, which didn't have enough fuel to do a lap. So then he also had Solid Gold. He said, oh, well, I'll send that out to one of the relatives. And now he's got the Broken Arrow over here. So I don't know how he gets his head around all of it.
Did someone say farming's tough in New South Wales this year?
Well, yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's a ripper
Yeah,
season.
it's a cracking season for the cotton up there. So
that won't put him off. He'll be back.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Where are we, guys? Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know, wait for a vote. Top 9 for Group B.
All right, so we are into the finals for the Group B at the moment.